This regular meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees is called to order at 7:02 p.m. on August the 6th, 2015. At this time, please stand, and Mr. Richard Fleming will lead the board's opening prayer and remain standing as Nancy Watton leads our pledge to the Texas and the U.S. flag.
Please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this brand new year that you've given us. Thank you for keeping our teachers and administrators and staff safe over the summer holidays. Please continue to give us the wisdom to lead our great district. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please be seated. As a district, we dedicate all of our effort and resources to our goal of high achievement for all of our students. The board uses this goal to guide us in all of our deliberations, decisions, and actions, and you will get to see all deliberations, decisions, and actions of the board in open session, with the exception of some items which may be held in closed session as stipulated in the Texas Government Code, Section 551, which is commonly known as the open meeting law. These items typically deal with personnel matters, consultation with our attorney, and real estate. For the record, all board members are here with the exception of Mr. John Matthews and Ms. Nancy Klein. However, we still do constitute a quorum and can conduct business on behalf of the school district. Also, as required by board policy BBD local, at all meetings of the board, the president will announce and the minutes shall reflect the name of each board member who has completed the required training or who has exceeded the required hours of training or who is deficient in the required training as of the date of the meeting before any vote of the board is taken. At this time, let the minutes reflect that all members of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees have begun acquiring the hours required for the 2015 school year. With that being said, we will now proceed with agenda item 2, and I will turn that over to Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Gooden. Members of the board, as you know, we start our formal recognition programs in September, but we certainly want to recognize those here with us tonight. So thank you for being here on our first official 2015-2016 board meeting schedule. But we will have in September our VIPs and our other recognitions for the board to recognize.
And that is it.
That's it on that one.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Burns. Before we move on to agenda item 3, which is report by our superintendent, I would like to remind the audience that the board encourages comments from the citizens of the district or district employees. Anyone wishing to speak to the board, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so during the time of agenda item 4A, which is audience for guests. If you would, please submit your request to do so on the form that's provided on the table just outside the double doors, and provide that completed form to Ms. Sharon Scribner. And when the board addresses agenda item 4A, I will then call you. At this time, I do have one, and if there's others who would like to speak to the board, please fill out the form. We'll now move on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 3A, which is presentation on student achievement, Learn More, Achieve More conference. Dr. Burns.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gooden, and members of the board. As you know, we reserve a time every board meeting to talk about the programs, initiatives, things that we are doing to try to continue to reach our goal of high achievement. In this particular time of year, it's always kind of appropriate to talk about what summer learning is going on for our teachers. Our kids may be taking a little summer off, but our teachers don't. And so we have a report for you tonight about our first ever summer conference, focusing on helping all our teachers become even better. And so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Warnock tonight to tell you all about our Learn More, Achieve More conference. Ms. Warnock.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. We have one day left of our conference tomorrow. So for the past 2 weeks, we have had a large number of our staff members who have been continuing honing their skills and learning at Creekview as part of our Learn More, Achieve More summer conference. This past year, the board read How People Learn, a study focused on from the National Research Council about the ways that we learn, and one of those chapters was on teacher learning. One of the highlights in that chapter is about choice and teacher choice, and we believe that offering our learning opportunities through the summer conference has really highlighted that for our teachers. And at this time, it's my pleasure to turn the presentation over to Tracy Smith and Michelle Bailey.
We're pleased to be here tonight to share the story of our first district-wide Learn More, Achieve More conference. We believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words, so we want to begin with a visual tour of the first week at the conference held at Creekview High School. Join us as we look at how CFB is creating the future together.
Travel, it's not one that's made of gravel. It's your life and it's free for you. Just put your best foot forward. I know that you're feeling awkward. Just remember we're all equal. Nurture us, but give us time to dream. Come on now and let's get going. Sometimes we just need room to breathe. Come on now and watch us growing, creating our future today. Hey, 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 come help us, we're on our way. Hey, hey, hey. In the dark you sometimes stumble and you hear the thunder rumble. Tell the truth and you'll get through it. There'll be challenges aplenty and sometimes you'll just feel
In August of 2014, Educational Services engaged in dialogue about improving summer professional development in CFB. In one short year, a major conference was designed to meet the academic and personal needs of the district staff. We wanted to design a time where teachers could not only attend classes, but also enroll in insurance benefits, take exercise classes, eat a healthy lunch on campus, and have their child care needs met. It has been inspirational to watch every department across the district work together to support the single focus of improving our learning organization.
As you look at the conference as a whole, several themes permeate the structure. The first is digital learning. Two nationally acclaimed writers, practitioners, and thought leaders, Mark Prinsky and Alan November, helped to spark our thinking as they shared their vision for the future of education, with technology at its core. Alan November stressed the importance of giving students real-world reasons to learn. By doing so, he asserted that engagement and thus student achievement will increase. Mr. Prinsky's speech also echoed this belief as he shared his ideas with staff and students for becoming more and accomplishing more. During his presentation, he brought students on stage for a question and answer session that gave educators an insight into how students think their classroom should change and what's important to them in their learning. Not only were staff members sparked to action, some of the students were as well. Lindsay Rowland, Creekview High School sophomore, who participated in this session, posted the tweet you see before you. In addition, she stated that due to this experience, she has already begun planning a club whose purpose will be to help disabled students in CFB. Practical application of these concepts were reinforced through sessions crafted around enabling teachers to design engaging lessons that use technology as more than an expensive pen. Through modeling lessons and allocating think time and mentors, session participants left with plans to engage their students with technology in order to access and evaluate information in new ways. In addition, an innovation station was open each day during the conference to allow participants to interact with new technology and dialogue about ways to put it into practice.
The learning environment has a direct and indirect influence on student learning, including engagement in what is being taught, motivation to learn, and a sense of well-being, belonging, and personal safety. During this past week, teachers expressed interest in expanding their knowledge and skills of effective management techniques. As a result, behavioral experts from special education, counseling, and the classroom collaborated to develop 19 different sessions focused on improving the learning environment. One of these sessions was provided by keynote speaker Tina Bryson, the author of The Whole Brain Child and No Drama Discipline. In her presentation, Dr. Bryson used humorous stories to demonstrate how to cultivate the healthy emotional and intellectual development of children, and she also stressed that discipline should teach skills and nurture connections that will help students make better decisions. Another area of focus revolved around redesigning the district's new hire academy. We have placed a firm emphasis on supporting our new teachers in developing routines and procedures that are clear, consistent, and practical for the classroom. All district new hires participated in 2 sessions where we studied the book Teach Like a Champion by Doug Lamov. In these sessions, participants were actively engaged with the content and skills were taught, practiced, and coached. Administrators and coaches have also been trained in these techniques, and we will continue to study and implement these strategies that Lamov states will put students on the path to college and career readiness for post-secondary success. Several sessions were presented to help teachers understand some of the issues and challenges our students face on their educational journey. One session, Cultural Diversity, Motivation, and Differentiation, presented by Pat Briggs, Texas Director for AVID, stressed that each student brings to school insights, understandings, and perspectives shaped by the ethnicities and cultures of their family. And as educators, we must develop relationships with students to gain an understanding of the wealth of information they bring to the educational process. Later, Mr. Briggs joined a roundtable discussion focused on helping all students achieve at high levels. Also on the panel were Nakia Douglas, principal of the Barack Obama Male Leadership Academy, and Tyler English, a student at Newman Smith High School.
Another major thread woven throughout the conference were sessions designed to improve teachers' content, knowledge, and skills. From fine arts to science and bilingual education to gifted, participants chose sessions that would enable them to be even more effective at their craft. With literacy at the forefront of our thinking, several specialized trainings with nationally known authors, as well as those affiliated with prestigious universities, were recruited to educate and inspire our teachers. Gretchen Burnaby shared a day-long session about how to improve students' grammar skills, and presenters from Teachers College at Columbia University gave 50 teachers the opportunity to further their knowledge of effective reading strategies in a 4-day mini-institute. An unsolicited email from one of the Teachers College attendees said, "I just wanted to say thank you for bringing the Homegrown Institute to CFB and allowing me to be a part of it. I learned so much and was inspired by Taryn. She is so passionate and knowledgeable. On Thursday, I just wanted to take her back to my team so that they could experience what I had just been a part of. Even though my teammate and I will do our best to share our learning, I hope that more teachers will be able to experience this training." Now that you've heard some details from us about the conference, let's go back to Creekview to hear from some of the participants themselves.
I thought Learn More, Achieve More was going to be really an opportunity to put all of our professional development opportunities into one place. And I definitely beforehand thought it was very unique to use the app and how technology was being incorporated into the conference.
Since we couldn't all go to New York, they brought New York to us basically and are teaching us how to better use the Lucy Calkins materials that we have. And we've been using Lucy Calkins for a few years, so it's just kind of showing us how to dig a little bit deeper to create our own mini lessons, just really taking the content of the books that she's written and make it our own so it's better suited to our kids and to our classrooms.
It was great. Parking was very easy. The attendants were helpful in pointing us in what direction to go. Once we got in, there were tons of people who were easily identifiable, who could answer any questions we had.
So much. Our curriculum's pretty much provided for us, and that's brand new for me. I'm used to having to come up with everything myself, and just knowing where to look and who to ask, and it's really helped me feel more comfortable going in because I have a much better idea. Okay, this is how I should set up my classroom. This is a good way to structure this. This is where your assessments are, that type of thing. And so it's really eased a lot of tensions that I've had coming in, and I already feel better.
Very beneficial. The people, I think, that have been teaching the trainings, they really know what they're talking about.
I've met so many people already, and it's nice to know we all have the same concerns, and this training is great. I love that it's at the kind of in the middle of the summer, because then you have 4 weeks to really think about what you've learned. You've got 4 weeks to process it, 4 weeks to set up that classroom and to prepare yourself. So.
Well, I think it's gone really well. Learn More, Achieve More is very unique in the sense that all of the district employees from elementary, middle, admin building, we're all in the same place, and so you really get a chance to have conversations about being an educator with lots of different people, and it's really cool to get those different perspectives. And it's also really awesome to see how we're all working toward the same things. The presenters have been fantastic in terms of pushing my thinking to a unique place that I've never really thought about before. They really seem ahead of the game in terms of where education is moving, and it really makes you rethink how you're going to approach education this coming school year.
As we stated earlier, this endeavor could not have been accomplished without the entire CFB team. Transportation, facility services, food and nutrition, the business office, benefits, security, human resources, and the instructional technology support staff were all vital in putting together a quality experience. In addition, we'd like to express a special thank you to the Creekview staff who graciously shared their building and personnel with us, and to the wonderful secretarial staff at the Educational Services Division. And now we'd like to close with one more video clip that will help to remind us exactly why we expended all of this time and effort. In just 18 short days,
Back to school, back to school. I just can't wait to get back to school. I am telling you the lies, I've got my school supplies, and I just can't wait to get back to school.
that concludes.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. That concludes our presentation. It truly has been an incredible 2 weeks of learning for our team. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warnock. Sometimes we can work in isolation certainly in a large district like this. I have to say, my 30, well, I better not tell you how many years because then you'll figure out how old I am. But in all my years, I've never seen a project like this that truly involved every single person in the district working together. And so it was a true team effort. So Ms. Warnock, her team, Mr. Hyatt, his side of the house, everybody worked to make this a successful event. So we're very proud.
Board members, any questions for administration? Mr. Shackman.
Congratulations on pulling off a tremendous program. I'm going to suggest to you that I do think you left one part of the team out. As a board member, I didn't know a thing about this conference until a week and a half ago. And I've had 2 calls from folks in the community that asked some questions about it because they live next to teachers, one in North Carrollton and one in Irving. And it was a little embarrassing to say, I have no earthly idea, I don't know exactly what it is. And so I think it's a great program. I just want to really encourage the administration. The board doesn't like to be surprised by things. And so let's find ways to get us involved in the loop. I bet this program cost over the $50,000 threshold, so at some point in time, I suspect that maybe it should have even come up from that perspective, but it's a great program. Congratulations, and I think it's a great idea, but let's engage all facets of the team, and I'd like to suggest that we want to be sure that we're working together and we're all pulling on the same team. Give us a chance to be supportive of you to the fullest of our extent.
Mr. Shore.
Well, I'm going to be contrarian to you. Maybe it was so successful because we were kept out of it.
Yeah, and we certainly apologize if the communication was good, but we've been talking about it and putting it in the notes for, I don't know, a long time.
Yes.
So we try to communicate to you with what we're doing in our planning notes weekly. We have a new format we're going to do now with a tightly aligned to the district plan. So nothing that we do or plan to do goes without being reported in one of those mechanisms. So we'll make sure we highlight it better, make sure that it's kind of stands out for you. But I know that Ms. Warnock and her team brought this way back in the fall, and we started kind of putting it in the notes to prepare you. And so we may need to do a better advertising job as we get closer and we learn more about it as we go, but it certainly wasn't an intent to leave anybody out. So.
Not thinking that there was any negative intent. And again, it sounds like it was a great program, and I'm incredibly supportive of us maximizing learning for all of our faculty and staff. Just be sure that we all have a chance to get involved and really help jump out there and support it.
Absolutely.
Very good. Board members, any other comments, questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item 4. We'll begin with agenda item 4A, audience for guests. As previously stated, the board does desire to have your feedback as to any comments, observations, questions you may have. As long as these pertain to public education issues, and you will be allocated 3 minutes to make your presentation. Our timekeeper, Mr. Shore, will provide a hand signal as you approach the 3-minute limit. Remember that on many of these items you may wish to discuss in open session, the board may not respond to you because if they are not part of a posted agenda item. However, if they are on a posted agenda item and you would like to defer and to a later time when that agenda item comes up, you may do so. Ms. Scribner, are there any more audience for guests other than the one that I have? No, sir. I have one, Mr. John Delorme. If you would go to the microphone right over there to your right, and please introduce yourself and where you live.
Thank you, President Good. John Delorme. My address is 6643 De Leon Street in Irving, Texas, 75039. I live at Ascena, Las Colinas. I'm a voting member of the Villas of Ascena Homeowners Association, LLC. We are a registered non-profit corporation with the state of Texas. I do come to address the board this evening concerning an agenda item, specifically the litigation concerning our election system. I would like to speak to the board regarding that item. I did reach out last week to Dr. Burns about coming to speak or getting on the agenda. I do have to say that his office staff was very professional and efficient in getting back with me and setting up a time to speak with Dr. Burns. He did call me back expeditiously, so I'd like to thank Dr. Burns and his staff for being so proactive in getting back with me as a citizen. It's brings a lot of confidence that our school district is in a good position with the quality staff that we have. Without a specific proposal from the plaintiffs in this litigation, I really can't comment on any item they have, except to say, I hope this is settled expeditiously. It takes away from our core mission of excellence in education in this district. That being said, if we do go to a different system than at large, I want to make sure that the western side of this district is whole and intact. We have an opportunity to participate and elect a representative for ourselves. We are the highest value residential and commercial property in this district, providing most of the revenue, including revenue from the Las Colinas TIF until it expires. It would be really unfortunate if we are gerrymandered in a way that we would not have the opportunity to have a say in board elections. Right now, with the current system, we can vote in an election if there's multiple candidates for all 7 places. In the future, if we go to a single-member district solely or a combination of single-member with 1 or 2 at-large seats, that may not be possible. So my neighborhood and our part of the district is very concerned. We want to make sure that neighborhoods of interest stay together. We go to the same high school, Ranchview, the same middle school, Barbara Bush, west of 35. And so we want to make sure that we are whole in this process at the end, even in a multi-district election system situation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. DeLorme, thank you very much for speaking to us. We appreciate your willingness to come and speak, and we understand very emphatically what you were saying, because these are things that we will definitely be discussing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now move on to agenda item 4. Let me get caught up here. 4B, which is our consent agenda. Board, as you're aware, the consent agenda is a mechanism where the board will address many issues of routine nature with a single vote. However, the board members have the opportunity to be able to review that material in advance, and at this time they do have the opportunity to pull any item for additional further discussion. That being said, board members, are there any items you would like to pull for further discussion? Mr. Shep.
Pull 4B3.
Okay. Any other items?
Let's see here, we got 4B, 19, 20, and 21.
And 21. Board members, any other items? Administration, do you have any that you wish to pull? Okay. What we will do now at this time is take a vote, board members, on the consent agenda with the exception of item 3, 19, 20, and 21. Ms. Watton.
I move that we accept the consent agenda minus the 3, 19, 20, and 21.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Is the motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Mr. Short, that's a second? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Mike. Thank you very much. We will now go back to agenda item 4B3. Mr. Shackman.
Mr. Good, the item 4B3 is a potential change to district policy that would expand the spending capabilities from the current threshold of $50,000 without bringing the item for specific board review to $100,000 or $250,000. As we discussed as a board, it's not that we think that that's necessarily inappropriate, but we are concerned that we make sure transparency is preeminent. And so the suggestion is that we take a look at that, go ahead and consider this a first reading and review. I'd like to ask Mr. Hyatt, if he would, to give us just a brief overview for those that are here and any that might be watching this via TV or later, so that people know, so that our community has opportunity to express anything should it come up, and then we can review this at our next meeting.
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Mr. Shackman. And first of all, I'll go ahead and confirm that staff has no problem at all with just accepting this as first reading and delaying to second reading. Give the board and the community any time to look it over and see what they think. The purpose of the policy change is to help expedite purchases, particularly summer months. It heightens the issue because we don't have a meeting in July, and it extends the time. And for every purchase that has to come to the board before we actually execute it, it can delay that purchase and those goods and services being purchased for the school. There's two things. There's two parts to this policy that we're changing. The one that actually identifies the spending limits, the dollar figures, is the most obvious. And Mr. Shackman mentioned there's two. One's the $100,000 for general purchases for all the supplies and materials. And then the second one's $250,000 that we're proposing for items related to what are construction, large construction related items. There's actually two laws, two different sets of laws and policies that relate to those two different nature purchases. In a current environment for purchasing construction things like air conditioning systems and roofing systems, the $50,000 limit's just not very realistic at all. And I think that's probably the one that's most obvious to see. If over the summer we have a cooling tower goes out or a major system breakdown, we very easily could have a $50,000 or $100,000 building repair that we really need to address on a more expeditious basis. The $100,000 on general purchases would help us over the summer months, but actually we could probably work with even within the 50 on the most normal cases. So that's what we're trying to accomplish there, and we think it gives the board the opportunity. We'll still report to the board. As you are aware, we have the purchasing report where we still list and report to you all the things that fall under that ceiling. We'll still continue that report so that you'll be fully informed of any purchase that take place. Just with one meeting a month and periodically months that we skip, this would really help us expedite purchases for the district.
Board members, are there any other comments or questions?
I think that pretty much answers 19, 20, 21. So.
Okay. So, Mr. Good, the board pleasure would bring it back as a second reading, but approve 19, 20, 21. Is that right? Okay.
So let me get a clarification. You are effectively withdrawing your request to discuss those 19, 20, 21?
I think 19, 20, 21 along with 3, first reading I thought we were going to do.
Okay. First reading on 4.
The first reading on the policy, but we would request to approve the 19, 20, 21 tonight. I think, is that correct, Mr. Hines?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 19, 20, and 21.
Let me go back to Mr. Shackman first, if I may, because on agenda item 3B, we need to, that'll be our first item of action.
Then I would suggest that we do delay any action on number 3 until our next meeting to allow any concerned parties to raise any questions or ask questions. And I think that's
Mr. Shackman, if you would present that as a motion.
Okay, then I so move that we not take action on item 3, delay it till the next month's agenda, at which time we will take action on that, allowing the community opportunity to speak.
Okay.
So you're moving that we take no action?
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
That's why I had.
I'll second that.
Mr. Fleming, I have a second. Therefore, we're actually on this agenda item 3B is considered the first reading of these two policies. And they will be brought back next board meeting for the second reading.
Thank you.
For also to take action at that time.
Mr. Good, just for clarification for our records over there, so actually, we're going to take first reading tonight.
That's correct.
And then we're going to not approve the second reading, first and second together, so the second reading will be the next time. Correct? Okay, so we'll have first reading approved. We will move the second reading to the next scheduled board meeting. Okay?
There is a motion not to take any action.
Okay.
That's what I need clarification
Clayton.
on.
I wasn't going to make a motion, then I got asked to.
It gets kind of complicated here with this.
I'm not sure, and I'm asking for clarification. I'm not sure if it needs a motion or if we simply, as a board, defer this action to another agenda, but
It doesn't need a motion.
It does require a motion.
Yeah.
Of
Okay.
some,
It does.
restating what it is you're requesting this board to do.
then the motion is to accept item 3 as a first reading tonight, to delay then any further action as a second reading or vote on this item until the next meeting.
Perfect.
Perfect. Mr. Fleming, I still have a second from you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
I thought John Stewart was at 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. With that being said, we will now go to agenda item 4B, 19, 20, and 21. And what we probably should do is take these individually, 19, 20, and 21. Or would you like to take them, can we just do it at one
Yes.
one motion?
You can do it.
If you're not changing anything?
No.
Okay. Mr. Fleming, what's your desire on agenda item 19, 20, and 21?
I make a motion to approve 19, 20, and 21.
Very good. Mr. Short?
I'll second that.
I have a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. And with that, we will move on to agenda item 4C, consider acceptance of report on certification of the 2015 appraisal rolls using the $15,000 homestead and certification of the estimated debt collection rate. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Members of the board, we have our resident expert, and she is the expert. She knows it in and out. So, Ms. Trott, you want to preface that with anything before you turn it over to Ms. Tillman? Okay.
It's complicated as the budget adoption process always is as far as meeting statutory requirements. This year, they've thrown us even more interesting curveball. So Ms. Tillman's going to explain it, and then we're going to ask you to accept pretty much everything that's ever been published by the appraisal district, just to make sure we do what the state wants us to do. So, Ms. Tillman?
Yes, thank you. So typically in August, we bring you 2 agenda items related to the certified tax rolls that we receive in July from the appraisal districts. And the first agenda item is usually just the certification reports from the appraisal districts, along with our summary report and our estimated debt collection rates. And then we follow that in agenda item with the resolutions where you actually approve those. This year, we have 4 agenda items, where we normally have 2 because of the passage of Senate Bill 1, where our optional the homestead exemption has been increased from $15,000 to $25,000. The problem with the timing is that they wanted it to go into effect in 2015, but it won't be law until the constitutional amendment is passed in November. So we've gotten conflicting information on how to handle this, and appraisal districts and the comptroller and TEA all have been scrambling to try to decide, and we've gotten limited information. Some appraisal districts have only issued 1 certified roll using the $15,000 because they say they're not going to do anything until it's actually voter approved in November. Some appraisal districts have given just the $25,000. Ours gave both, which is what most of the appraisal districts did. So we received 2 certified rolls, one with the current $15,000 homestead exemption, and one assuming a successful election in November with the $25,000 homestead exemption. So our 2 agenda items have turned into 4. So we're asking you to accept both rolls, the $15,000 and the $25,000, since we received those from our appraisal districts. We plan on using the $25,000 for budget purposes and for truth and taxation calculations. So the first agenda item is just to accept the report for the 2015 appraisal rolls using the $15,000 homestead exemption and estimating our debt collection rate.
Board members, Mr. Short.
Tanya, would it be safe to say that by using the $25,000 exemption amount, that's the more conservative way of anticipating the revenue that would be available?
Yes.
And so if that vote doesn't pass in November, in all reasonable likelihood, there would be a little bit more revenue.
Well, our understanding right now is the state's going to hold us harmless. So we've made it as if when we reduced our tax revenue, we increased our state revenue to offset that because that's what we were told was included in the law.
So the revenue to the district is going to be close to identical.
Right.
But the expense to the taxpayer to the property owner could be less.
Right.
Okay.
So if indeed it didn't pass, then our state revenue would just go down and our tax revenue would go back up. So we're not going to,
No, you said that
if we
backwards.
went from the 25 back down to the 15 for whatever reason, budget-wise, it wouldn't impact us because our state funding would just drop. And then
Taxpayer, the property tax owner would pay more.
Right.
In fact, the intent, and we've got some direction on this, is we'll go ahead and print our tax bills to our taxpayers, assuming the election's going to pass and they're going to get the exemption. If the election fails, we'll have to send out supplemental tax bills and everybody have to pay some more.
They're going to love that.
They would love that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd kind of think it's reasonably probable that people will vote for lowering their taxes, so.
Some people.
Board members, other questions? If not, do I have a motion to consider acceptance of the report on certification of the 2015 appraisal rolls using the $15,000 homestead and certification estimated debt collection? Mr. Short.
The answer is yes, but don't we have a resolution that we're normally supposed to read for
That's
this?
the next
That's
agenda.
item D.
Oh,
This is just acceptance of the report.
all right, so what's the magic language you want me to say in my motion, Mr. Good?
This
Move
one
to
doesn't
accept
Do
the
I have a
report.
motion to accept the
You
report?
have such a motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Shackman. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. We will now go to agenda item 4D, which is to consider all matters related to the certification of the 2015 appraisal rolls using the $15,000 homestead exemption, including adopting a resolution to approve that 2015 tax roll calculated from the district's tax assessor collector previously presented report, and adopting a resolution to accept the district's tax assessor collector's certification of the anticipated collection rate. Dr. Burns. Ms. Tillman.
These are the resolutions. We haven't typically read both of these. That's at the actual tax rate adoption meeting. So we ask that you approve these as presented.
Board members? Mr. Shackman.
I will make a motion that we accept the tax rate adoption calculation at the $15,000 level exactly as presented.
Thank you.
And the resolution. Very good. Do I have a second? Ms. Watton. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Ms. Watton, did you raise your hand? Yes. Oh, thank you. That is unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 4E. Dr. Burns, I'm going to just bypass you.
You just go straight to Ms. Tillman.
Tillman.
That's absolutely.
This is the reports that we received from our appraisal districts that assumes a successful election with the $25,000 homestead exemption. Just for your information, the $10,000 change drops our taxable value by $254 million. And we ask that you approve these reports as presented.
Very good. Board members, do I have a motion to consider acceptance of the report on the certification of the 2015 appraisal rolls? I won't read it then. Mr. Short.
Move that we accept the report on certification of the 2015 appraisal rules using $25,000 homestead exemption and certification of the estimated debt collection rate.
I have a motion by Mr. Shore. Do I have a second? Ms. Watt? Thank you. All those in any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Agenda item 4F, consider all matters related to the certification of the 2015 appraisals roll using $25,000 homestead exemption, including adopting a resolution to approve the 2015 tax roll calculated from the district's tax assessor collector previously presented report, and adopting a resolution to accept the district's tax assessor collector's certification of the anticipated collection rate. Ms. Tillman.
We ask that you execute these resolutions as presented.
Board members, any questions? Do I have a motion?
Okay.
Mr. Shackman.
I move that we accept the matters related to the certification of the appraisal rolls at the $25,000 level, including the adoption of a resolution to certify all of that as recommended by staff.
I have a motion by Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? Mr. Shore. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
One question, Mr. Hyatt or Ms. Tillman? Do we have any clue, because the legislature has provided some additional funds, robbing Peter to pay Paul, but to try to compensate between the 15 and 25,000, that's a one-year fix, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It will adjust through our T2 value, so the state share will go up to offset it. So now we can't say what they're going to do in the future, but our assumption is that will carry forward.
Yeah, so the higher homestead exemption may end up actually costing us unless they can raise funding on other ends to offset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was afraid that's what you were going to say.
We will move on to agenda item 4G. Consider all matters related to wealth equalization, including executing an agreement for the purchase of attendance credits. Dr. Burns?
One more item for Ms. Tillman.
Ms. Tillman.
Each year, we are required to execute a contract because we are classified as a Chapter 41 district. Although we haven't made a payment since 08-09, there are 3 equalized wealth levels, and if you fall into one of those categories, you still have to execute a contract. We are not anticipating a payment in the 15-16 year, but the contract must be in place, and we ask that you approve the contract as presented.
Board members, any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Mr. Shore.
Move that we approve the contract related to the wealth equalization, including that we execute the agreement for the purchase of attendance credits.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second? Ms. Watton, thank you. All those in favor of approving agenda item 4G, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 4H. And thank you, Ms. Tillman. And thank you, Dr. Burns, too. You're welcome. Agenda item 4H, consider rescheduling the regular board meeting scheduled on October 1, 2015. Dr. Burns, you want to bring us up to date?
I'll just make a brief comment, and then board members may want to add to it, because this is in relationship to your annual school board convention put on by a joint effort with our Texas Association of School Administrators and Texas Association of School Board. And it's always been traditionally the last weekend in September. However, they made a change. They didn't necessarily ask us if that was okay, but they made a change and moved it to the weekend of October, really starts on Thursday night. So it's October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which now is a conflict with your regularly scheduled board meeting. So we want to just present that to the board if you believe that moving it to October the 8th would be better so that you can travel down to Austin, because the convention is in Austin this year, then we want to give you that as an option.
Board members, any discussion on changing the date of our next regularly, or not our next, but the October board meeting from October 1 to October 8? Discussion? Questions?
Let's go for October.
Yes.
So we're going to move to October 8th.
And that will allow us to travel on Thursday, October 1, to get to Austin for Friday morning presentations.
Sounds good to me.
Any discussion? Do I have a motion? Ms. Watton?
I move that we reschedule the regular board meeting from October 1st to October 8th.
I have a motion. A second? Mr. Shore, thank you very much. All those in favor of agenda item 4H, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and Mr. Good, we will immediately update our website information. Ms. Shelley, I see her already over there typing in, so that our community knows that board meeting, which is typically the first Thursday, is now the second Thursday in October, and it'll be October the 8th. So,
very good. Agenda item 5, comments from board members, specifically agenda item 5A, comments regarding posted agenda items. Board members, any comments, questions, anything you'd like to present at this time? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 6. Agenda item 6, closed meeting as authorized under Texas Government Code, including but not limited to section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, real property, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, security devices, 551.082, school children, district employees, disciplinary matter or complaint, 551.0821, personally identifiable student information, and 551.084, investigation. Then agenda item 6A is one item pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.072, deliberation regarding the purchase of real property, and agenda item 6B pursuant to Texas Government Code section 551.071, consultation with legal counsel regarding pending and anticipated litigation against the district, including civil action number 315-CV-01239-D, Ramos versus Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District et al., and pending in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas. Board members, at this time, we are going to reconvene in closed session to take up these two matters. And the time is 7:55.
we'll move
And we,
stay there if you like.
one other, for our audience, you may stay here if you like. We will move to the board's executive conference room. However, cannot tell you when we will return. This meeting is reconvened in open session at 9:45 p.m. We'll move to agenda item 7A, which is consider and take possible action regarding pending litigation, civil action number 315 CV-01239D, Ramos versus Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District et al., pending in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas. Board member, was there anything in closed session that requires us taking action? Hearing none, seeing none, we will move on then to agenda item 8, which is adjournment. And by my determination, we have reached the end of our agenda and there's no further business and we are adjourned. at 9:46.